own show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vish, and DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
What's going on, man? Welcome back to the 6 Rings Kane Show pregame show. As the Miami Hurricanes get set to take on the Florida State Seminoles here in just a little bit under an hour now. Checking a watch that doesn't even turn on right now. So, but as you can see, myself and Vish are in. We're in our.
We're not disclosed locations at this point. We're bunkering. We're batting down the hatches. We're ready to go.
Oh man!
Rivalry week. We can't let anything out of the bag rivalry week. So we had to go to places where people couldn't find us.
We had to wear different clothes. I'm wearing my green polo today. You're wearing your whites. I mean, listen, whatever it takes, man. We're trying to switch it up a little bit and see what's going on here. As we get set. Look, we even got breaking news about an hour ago, right? Maybe a little bit more than an hour ago, but it looks like Emory Williams is gonna be the starting quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes today against FSU. Look, Vish, we have been talking about it ad nauseum.
I feel like we've talked this issue to death.
Yeah, and it seems like this was kind of the consensus all around. As we thought, Emory might be the guy. Who knows if they're going to bring in packages for Ja'Carri Brown or not? But I think that it's the right move per se. Again, I know we talked to Dono and everybody's saying there's no real right move, but I think that at this point you got to try to do something else.
I mean, we're gonna play the result, right?
Yeah, so. Of course, absolutely, absolutely.
We do have post game after the game, so we'll tell you if it was the right move or not at that point. I mean,
but I will say, Vish, you mentioned this earlier, right? Like you got to stick with it now.
Yeah, no, he's the guy. You handed him the keys of the car, let him drive it. Like you cannot. If he makes a mistake early, you cannot pull him.
Right.
You got to let him play through it. And you got to treat him like he's the starting quarterback. Like Clemson was different. He's deputizing. You're just trying to get through that game. He's now the starter. That means you got to allow him to throw. You got to allow him to make plays. It cannot. Florida State's too good to just run into the middle line, punt, and think you're going to win. That actually probably would have worked last week. Yeah. But this week you're going to have to actually score points. So I hopefully they trust him and they stick with him and they just let him if he's struggling. Obviously, hopefully he's not struggling. Comes in and lights it up, and we're all just like smoking cigars by 6 p.m. But So I mean, let's hope so. But if he struggles, let him play through it. He's the starter now. Give him the same leash you gave TVD, right? I mean, I think that's what you got to do.
And I think it's interesting you say that because obviously when Emory started. He started off slow. The whole first half was pretty slow. Made some adjustments, and they got it going a little bit in the second half. However, both teams are kind of notorious for slow starts this year. One team just happens to do a little bit better at the end of the ball game than the other. But you're talking about two teams that both have pretty strong defenses. both are off. Both get off to slower starts. I know Miami starts to pick it up in the second and third quarter. Is kind of like their money quarter, the third quarter. But someone's got to break, right? Or are they both going to get off to slow starts? It's going to be a slugfest, a heavyweight fight where they're just going to go at it and throwing blows each other, but not necessarily scoring points, right? They're just going to beat each other up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, if we get off to a slow start, you gotta stick with him. Like the first half performance Emery had against Clemson, it was pretty awful. He was missing every throw. He barely threw front of yardage. He threw a pick. But if he does that again here, just because you have TVD available in uniform does not mean you go to him. Let him play through it. Hopefully, like, we keep the game close, and then like you said, maybe we'll make the plays to win it in the end. I think that's the strategy here, because again, FSU has also started slow multiple times, and you got to allow your quarterback to have confidence. You can't have him looking over his shoulder. So he's the guy now. It's his team. Let him lead his troops out there and let him play through it. Let the team follow him. And I think when we talk about one of TVD's struggles, other than whether or not the injury is affecting him physically, is his leadership ability should not be affected by an injury, and it's kind of been absent. So allow Emery to be the leader, and the only way you do that is by sticking with him, regardless of how he's playing now. He should, other than you said, maybe Jakari, outside of him getting injured, or Jakari, maybe some Jakari packages, like specific plays that are planned.
Do you think they will put something together for him?
I still cannot understand how he's taken 0 snaps this year. And I do think it bit us in the ass in the last game, because there's no doubt. In fact, even in the first half, we had 3rd and 1. Remember, we went under center and false started. Like, if if Jakari had taken snaps, you had a package for him, that's probably another 10 points right there, because you punch those in. So I don't know. I honestly, this whole thing about, I get preserving a red shirt, but this whole thing about he's not going to take a single snap that they were like saying is just kind of weird. I don't get it. By the way, shout out to Martin from I believe Botswana.
He's not going to burn his shirt now, so he can go out there and play as much as he wants.
Right, but it sounded like they weren't really concerned about that as much as just for some reason they didn't want him to take any snaps. So,
by the way, is Martin our good friend from
Botswana, I believe.
Oh,
Botswana, definitely Africa. I think Botswana.
That's right.
Yeah. We finally every once in a while the time zone hits for him.
I hope you got
it's going to be a long night, though. I feel for him. All these night games have been screwing our man Martin there.
What? They're about 7 hours.
He can probably tell us. I have no idea the time difference to Botswana.
Right, what time is it for you over there at home?
Yeah, he's probably okay right now, but these 8 p.m. kicks have been killing him.
Must be brutal. Yep. Must be brutal. But
so, Jess, what do you think, though? Do you think we're gonna? I mean, what do you think the strategy is going to be coming in here? Martin talking about the offensive line. Clearly, that's the strength of our offense.
Okay, so 10:30 start for you.
Yep. Okay. So, but clearly, the offensive line is the strength of our offense. How do you think we're going to approach this game?
Yeah, you got to be able to dominate the trenches and kind of enforce your will. Obviously, in the running game, but the most important thing is for Emery to protect the ball. I'm not asking him to do anything too crazy. However, Steve-O mentioned it. I know you reposted it on Twitter. Yeah. Like, now is not the time to be conservative with your play calling. I think you got to just throw it out there and run your game plan and let him execute. If he's able to execute in practice against a really good defense in your own defense, I know it's a little bit different in the game, hostile territory. I get all of that. But I think right now you got to go out there. This is the only way you're going to win this game, right? You got to take some chances, but it's got to be calculated risk. And so you've got to be able to put them in position to make plays. If you continuously kind of shoot yourself in the foot with turnovers or false starts, or you're just being too conservative, you're going to you could potentially have, Florida State with short fields, with all, there's a potential for a lot of things to happen. You might make a mistake if you're taking a risk at the same time, but it's just going to be tough to win this football game if you're not throwing the football efficiently and not taking some risk here or there, because they're going to stack the box against our running game, and our offensive line is great. But when there's nine guys and there's 6 guys to block, something's got to give sometimes. So you got to be able to be a little more balanced this game.
Yeah, and the problem with being conservative is even when you move the ball, we're a mistake away from punting or settling for a field goal. And this game you're gonna have to score touchdowns. Like, we're not gonna field goal this game to a victory, because we actually did against Virginia, but that's not gonna happen here. We tried to. We almost did against North Carolina State, but had some execution issues. Missed a field goal, through a pick, and then got stuffed inside the 5-yard line. But frankly, if we had made one of the first two, we probably kicked the second one and we'll win that game 12-10. To be honest,
Yeah.
but that's not going to hold up here. Like, you need to get touchdowns, and to do that, like you said, they're not going to let us. I mean, in my dreams, we just shove them out of the way and rip off 15 yards runs against the stack box. But I feel like they're gonna their front seven is really good, and they're gonna dare us to beat them. And Emery's good enough; he's capable.
I think so.
You gotta trust him to do it. You gotta just trust him to do it.
Right now he's the best passer. I mean, that's not. I know it might not sound like that's saying much because of TVD struggles, but he's a good passer, man. You know, he's got the accuracy. He's got a good arm. He can throw it down the field. He can throw the intermediate ball. He throws a short, right? Like, he's a talented thrower. So I think what's going to be important as well is to let him do that. And I think you have to mix JB in this to use his legs and his mobility.
Yeah, I hope so. I just don't. I've never understood the handling of him this year, so I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah. It's gonna be
I'd love to see him in there. He's a weapon. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. He's big. He's strong. He contrary to popular belief, he can throw. He's not nearly the thrower that Emery is, but he can throw too. I mean,
right.
We saw him do it last year, and I it feels like we left that bullet in our holster the entire year for whatever reason.
So I got a question for you, because I think, it's going to be important to be able to throw the football efficiently. Can this receiver core get it done against a pretty good secondary in FSU? I mean, they've got Fentrell Cypress, who's the transfer from Virginia last year, who's one of the top corners. You got Renardo Greed on the other side. Pretty good cornerbacks and some good safety play as well with Knowles and some of the other guys that they have back there. I think Miami is good enough on the offensive side of the football as far as the skill position, their wide receivers, to be able to get open and get some some yardage after the catch. I think that what they're going to do is probably focus in on number 7 a little bit on X, but you've got a talented core and George and Young. Do you think they can get it done?
I think they can. They've all been inconsistent, and part of that's inconsistent quarterback play. But even before that, it's been what it feels like. Almost we've featured a receiver. They haven't all kind of, other than I think A&M, they all kind of had big games and big plays. But other than that, it's been, even when we were playing well offensively, it's been, wow, Colby Young went off today, or wow, Jacoby went off today, and it was
right.
So we kind of we do need them all to step up. We're gonna, knock on wood, we're gonna need the tight ends to catch the damn ball. Like, I mean, we need everyone to play well. Like, they got to play their best games. Like, we cannot carry dead weight in this game. So yeah, no, I think they can. I think they can get open. It's all. I mean, FSU's the number 4 team in the country. They're really good. So I mean, it's making the plays when they're there. It's not making the mistakes when the plays aren't there. But yeah, no, these are good receivers. They can get open on anyone.
How about on the other side of the football, right? Because now you've got, from what you reported, Darrell Porter is going to be out for the game. Yeah. So you're probably going to see a lot of Devontae Brown and his brother. You'll probably see a lot of Damari Brown as well, and maybe some other guys. Maybe Jadaeus Richard gets in the game. But you've got Jaden Davis on one side and whoever it is on the other side covering Johnny Wilson.
Fragile Freddie and Mr. Overrated over there.
And Keon Coleman. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, they're really good. They're really good wide receivers. But they go through their inconsistencies as well, especially Johnny Wilson. He kind of has
he has some drops, yeah.
Right. So is this an opportunity for Miami to, from the secondary perspective, good secondary as well. Obviously, All-American and Cam Kitchens. You got James Williams, who's having a great year. And then the corners are doing really well. Jaden Davis is doing really well. And Darrell Porter is actually a hell of a corner, if you ask me. I know he's out, but you've got some other guys there. This is an opportunity for them to kind of show what they can do to stop these guys. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not even so worried about them. I think that the biggest mismatch might be their tight end, Jaheim Bell. with our linebackers.
And even their backup Tylen Morlock is good too. Like, I mean, it's just they're tough to cover, and you touched on this earlier in the week, which was sliced and diced by FSU and taken out of context by their fans. But it's the quarterback that causes all these other guys. Like, you have to worry about him running and throwing, which means it's going to freeze your linebackers. It opens up a lot of the field, and this is going to be a big game for Cam Kitchens and James Williams. Because one-on-one, our corners are not going to really cover these receivers if we just leave them on islands. The safeties are going to have to help. The safeties are also going to have to help against the run, help against the quarterback, and help against the tight ends. And you know what? Those are our two best players. So step up and have a big game, because that is actually where, like you said, Cam Kitchens is an All-American. Like, this is, the best, or if not the best, one of the best safeties in the country. So, a lot of this is going to ride on his shoulders. He's been playing well lately, too. He kind of had a little bit of a slow start after his injury earlier in the year. And so it is going to put a lot of pressure on our safeties, but that's the way you want it. You want your best players to be the one that the pressure is on. So,
right.
So, let's see what we got there. And I agree with John too. Put this up here.
That's probably our best covered linebacker.
Yeah, and even when Clemson kind of caught some passes on him, it was blanket coverage. Like, it was just a great play. And there's going to be some of that today because, again, can't reiterate enough. FSU's a very good football team, so
I think it will be a competitive concept. No, Martin, I don't think you're delusional at all. I think it can be a very competitive game today. I think that Miami just needs to execute, and they need to make sure that they're not giving the ball away to the other team so easily, right? That's going to be the biggest thing. I definitely think this could be a competitive game. And the closer you keep it for the longer amounts of time, the better opportunity you have of being able to win, right? If you're down, 2 or 3 touchdowns going into the third or fourth quarter, it's going to be really tough, man. You're going to have to either be up by a couple points or down by less than a score to be able to keep this thing close, because I think that once they're able to impose their will a little bit, then you might have some issues. But at the end of the day, I think Miami can definitely keep this game. They can keep this game close. It's all going to depend on and look, you mentioned, I want to kind of go back to it really quick. The quarterback play. The truth is that Miami can cover a little bit, right? So if Miami can cover a little bit, you can get pressure on Jordan Travis and keep him in the pocket. That's where he has his issues, right? If he's pressured, if he has to hurry up a little bit, he doesn't necessarily make the most accurate throws. He's better when he's outside the pocket, running around, getting these guys open, giving them time to kind of do that scramble drill that Flo talked about earlier this week. Mm-hmm. That's when you see him excel. So if you can kind of keep him in the pocket, put some pressure on him, their offensive line is not great. I'm not saying they're terrible, because they've got Trey Benson who can run like anybody.
Yeah, that's another challenge that the Canes are going to face.
But they're not the best, right? So if you can go in there with a strong defensive line or a front seven and put some pressure on Jordan Travis, you might have an opportunity to cause maybe some turnovers as well.
Yeah, and then, part of that is also just being physical all over the field. You got to make them feel you. You got to hit him early. Absolutely. You got to hit everyone. You got to make them. Benson's very physical. The rest of their offense is not. And so I think, even when, Coleman or Wilson make a catch, put them on their ass physically. Make them feel it. Make them think the next time. Same with Jordan Travis. He gets banged up a lot. Hit him. If he's going to make a play, hit him and again, it's playing the long game. They're going to make plays. They're good, but make them pay for those plays, right? Make them feel it.
I think you have to, like you said, they're going to make plays. They're going to score some points. You've got to match it. You got to match their energy. You got to match their intensity. You've got to match what they do in order to keep this game close and competitive and have an opportunity to win. What does Martin say there? The common denominator in the 3 losses was turnovers by TVD, so technically.
I mean, I'm not going to relitigate the UNC game for the 50th time, but please, everyone, go watch that game again. That was not on the offense. It's certainly not on TVD, because 2 of the turnovers that – and actually, one of the things, talking about whether or not this is going to be a blowout, is that one thing with this team is they've never quit, and that's actually where a lot of TVDs in it. Like, he's throwing all those interceptions. A lot of them were like desperate. He threw an interception on the last play of the game when we were down by more than 1 score twice in that stretch. And it's like, well, those count. But, he's still trying to, this team doesn't quit, and whoever the quarterback is. So I don't think
That I
we're
will
going to
give
go
them.
quietly.
They don't
We're not. No, and that's the whole team, not just him. The whole team.
Right.
So we're not going to go quietly. We're not going to like get punched in the mouth and roll over. It's not going to be last year. and so I don't know what the final score is going to look like, because again, FSU is really good. They could just be 15 points better than us because they're 15 points better than us. Let's be real here. They haven't been challenged in like a month. They're like the last time they were in a close game was in September. So they're really good, but it's not going to be because like we got hit in the mouth and we folded. It's not going to be because we didn't put the effort into it. We're because last year, frankly, that team was quitting on the regular, and this team does not do that. So I think we'll fight them hard, and we're gonna make them. They're gonna have to earn it today, and it is their last tough game. We're the only thing standing between them and a undefeated season. So
Yeah.
chance to ruin their season. Let's go do that.
Let's do it. That's going to be the biggest thing. Vish, what's your, I could say what's your keys to the game for Miami, but give me one specific thing that Miami's going to have to do really well to win this game.
Get Brashard Smith the ball in space. He's a game changer. If he gets because I really think the way we win this game is getting a handful of explosive plays. They've been absent. The only real big plays we've had the last several games is Brashard's long touchdown against Clemson, which he actually fumbled on. Thank God Jacoby chased the play down. And then when A.J. Allen jumped over that dude's head. Other than that, it's been like paper cut.
Oh, you touchdown and turn in overtime with Mark Fletcher.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm talking to regulation.
Oh, regulation.
We haven't won a game in regulation in the ACC, so maybe we could do that today. But I think if you generate those explosive plays, it takes so much pressure off the offense, and we haven't been doing it, which is why we always seem to be like, we rarely go 3 and out. We always seem to move the ball. It's going, and we don't score. It's because you're just when you try to string together a 15 to 20 play drive, getting 5 or 6 yards at a time, one false start, one holding, one drop pass, one missed throw, whatever, like kills the drive. And so getting those big plays, getting those chunk plays, and Brashard's one of the most explosive players in college football. I don't know why he didn't touch the ball last week. He did once on a kickoff and almost housed it. And just get him the ball a lot, and he'll make a play here or there, and that could swing the game.
Yep. That's my key to the game, Andres.
It's hitting Fragile Freddy's brother here.
Pressure Jordan Travis. Keep him in the pocket. Make him get the ball out of his hands quicker than he wants to. And I think you've got an opportunity to put them in second and third and long, and potentially make some mistakes as well. I think that once you do that, obviously Miami's got to capitalize on the other side of the ball. But if you can do that, I think you've got a good opportunity. You got to keep the ball out of his hands, right? So the more you pressure him, the more you get him off the field, and you're on the field, you've got a better chance of winning the game. So I'm going to say that. I totally agree. And please don't go 3 and out. Well, I can't guarantee that. That I can.
I mean that would be nice if we had no 3 and outs. Give the defense a little.
I'm okay with some 3 and outs. I mean, as long if it's early on, I mean it might happen, right? It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen eventually. I mean, they're a good team.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not gonna like just blow them off the field or something. That's just not gonna happen.
I get what you're saying. Control the clock. Try to control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think we've got the dogs in the trenches to be able to do that. It's just a matter of the other stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things the offense did do well last week, which does help the defense, is win the time of possession significantly. And that is another way to. Now, if we're going to do it because we're bleeding the clock all the way down and playing very slow and playing conservative, we're not going to score, and then it'll take FSU 10 seconds to be in the end zone. You're like, well, there goes that. I don't think that strategy is going to work this week. But, yeah, no, definitely, switching tempos, I think, going quick sometimes, slow other times, keeping them off balance. Not if they, like, triple team him like they did last week, but that should open it up for everyone else.
No kidding.
I mean, if they roll the line coverage to him, then again, that's I think why everyone else ate last week. He was getting all the attention.
I agree. You want to do any? Well, we already kind of gave our scores, right?
Yeah, let's not do that again. I'm in a positive mindset. We don't need to revisit that. I will say, this is a game where we have to keep calling on Borregales, it's probably a game we lose. Not because he's not a great kicker. He made the Groza list for the semifinalists. He's one of the best kickers in the country, but it's hard to see us winning this game 3 points at a time. And so if this is one of those games where you're like, wow, calling on the kicker again, that's probably not a good sign because FSU scores touchdowns. They don't really turn it over. Jordan Travis only has 2 interceptions this year, so you got to match that.
Right.
Like Guidry was saying this week, our offense needs to beat their offense.
Guaranteed. We'll see what happens, folks. We'll be back here.
It will be post game. Let's hope it's a celebratory one.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have a nice cold beer in my hand or a nice drink in my hand celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm not drowning in my sorrows, right?
Either way, there will be alcohol. Join us for the post game.
100%. That is a fact. So we'll see what happens. We'll see you guys in about 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, Canes.
Go Canes.
The 6-Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6-Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.